Greetings, Justice Seekers. Welcome to Justice, Not Justice, Season 1, Episode 33. So in addition to the things that I've already discussed about the ways that Judge Carroll botched this case against herself, really in favor of Jeremiah, there's a couple of other things that I wanted to point to. Now, you have to understand that the documents that were written about this, the appeal documents, are heavily researched and substantially supported by case law and Wisconsin statutes and all this kind of thing. So there's a couple of things that are relevant not only to this particular hearing, but also to just the way that Judge Carroll runs her court, okay? So specifically, referencing Chapter SCR 60.041D of the Wisconsin Supreme Court rules, which state that a judge shall be patient, dignified, and courteous to litigants, jurors, witnesses, lawyers, and others with whom the judge deals in an official capacity, and shall require similar conduct of the lawyers, staff, court officials, and others subject to the judge's direction and control. It further states that a judge shall require staff, court officials, and others subject to the judge's direction and control to observe the standards of fidelity and diligence that apply to the judge and to refrain from manifesting bias or prejudice in the performance of their official duties. Okay, so why is this important? Not only is it relevant to Judge Carroll in this case, maybe not, but it's definitely relevant to this person who, over the course of the hearings, was extremely disrespectful, confrontational, agitating, not only to Jeremiah, but also to me, and Judge Carroll did absolutely nothing about that. And that resulted, Sheriff David Jepson, in Jeremiah not being able to introduce any evidence. So whether or not Judge Carroll actually allowed it is one issue, but the fact that her employee, this person is under her control, this is the bailiff of her court, refused to allow Jeremiah to have his computer and help setting up his evidence is a further transgression of due diligence, the right of everybody to fair process. Similarly, I've referenced this before in these other hearings with Jane Carroll. Chapter SCR 60.04 HM of the Wisconsin Supreme Court rules state that a judge shall uphold and apply the law and shall perform all duties of judicial office fairly and impartially. A judge shall also afford to every person who has a legal interest in a proceeding the right to be heard according to the law. A judge may make reasonable efforts to facilitate the ability of all litigants, including self-represented litigants, to be fairly heard. In a comment about this from probably an appellate judge, a judge's responsibility to promote access to justice combined with the growth in litigation involving self-represented litigants may warrant more frequent exercise of such discretion using techniques that enhance the process of reaching a fair determination in the case. And I've talked about this before, both relative to Judge Carroll as well as to Richard Sankovitz, who was the original judge on the case who retired at the end of 2018, who Jeremiah primarily has been unrepresented, and they have absolutely not followed the spirit of that. And I've spoken about how justice should not be affordable or accessible to people who can't afford to get an attorney and who maybe don't fall under the rules of somebody who's destitute or indigent, or for some of these free legal services, maybe they don't fit those rules, but they certainly don't have enough money to hire another attorney. As we've mentioned, he already gave $4,000 to an attorney in this case, and it was flushed down the toilet. So that's another way in which Judge Carroll failed Jeremiah and failed this particular hearing. So like I said, this harassment injunction is currently under appeal in the Wisconsin Court of Appeals, and it would have taken this long anyways, typically, for them to make a decision. And with COVID having come down the pike, we don't really know what the time frame is yet, but all of the documents have been submitted and it is under review. So I'm going to just take a break from the details of this case, and I wanted to share that I have been receiving such a remarkable outpouring of support and love and championship about what I'm trying to do. So I really, really appreciate that, and I hope that we can continue to pursue justice. And I do want to make a significant clarification about it could appear as though I'm doing this because I'm in a relationship with Jeremiah, or Jeremiah's a good, whatever our relationship, like because we know each other type of thing. But this is just the start. This is not about Jeremiah. This is about what's wrong in the Milwaukee County court system. And the players, and is it all of them? I don't know. Is it some of them? For sure. And some people have asked for clarification about why they feel that there's racism involved in this particular miscarriage of justice. And the first thing that I will say is that it's racist because Jamie Collins is racist. She explicitly said, and it is recorded and documented, I'm about to go and trump up abuse charges against you, and nobody's going to believe you because you're a black man from the hood and I'm a white girl from Eagle River. So somebody who knows that they are in a position of power and exploits that to their own gain and or to the significant detriment of another person based exclusively on race, that is racism. So it started out being racist. She is a racist, which is really queer because she has mixed children, but clearly she is a racist because she knew that she could exert her little white girl status and that Jeremiah would suffer as a result, and that's exactly what happened. Is guardian ad litem Lisa Bangert racist? We don't know. We have yet to identify the motives for Lisa Bangert in her bad behavior, not only in this case, but also in a lot of others of people with whom I've spoken, even very recently. So that's yet to be determined. Is Judge Carroll racist? Not sure. Is Sheriff David Jepson racist? Well, based on his behavior toward Jeremiah, so we've been seeing a lot, obviously, in the news lately about the way that police interact with black people, black men in particular. And it's that real aggressive, just like right out of the chute, I'm assuming you're a bad person, there's something going on. And David Jepson absolutely has that attitude. He, in my experience, is one of those police officers who's really he's in it for the control. He's in it for the power trip. And definitely shows preferential treatment toward Jamie, who's white, and against Jeremiah, who's black. So, the speculation about racism is not important, and it's not really productive, especially as it relates. So we've already identified that Jamie is racist. Whether or not Bangert, Judge Carroll, and or David Jepson are irrelevant. But I think we can all agree that systemic racism does exist in society, in America. And does it exist in the Milwaukee County courts, family courts, is yet to be determined, okay? We're just starting to reveal some of these gross miscarriages of justice. And I will say that since I have been posting and publishing these videos, that I'm getting an overwhelming opinion that the Milwaukee County family courts may or may not be racist, but they're definitely anti-male. And if that's true, that isn't okay either. These are the bastions of justice in our community. The Milwaukee County family courts, the judges, the attorneys, the guardian ad litems, it's inappropriate and it's improper and it's unacceptable for them to be operating on any basis other than justice and fairness and ultimately in the preservation of families. And we are not seeing that, and that is completely unacceptable, and that is really ultimately the reason why I am providing this particular series, is so that we can figure out what is going on down there and what needs to happen in order for that to change, so that I stop getting texts and emails and messages from people saying the exact same thing happened to me. It's gross, it's offensive, and I want you to just think about the number of children who are being impacted and the families that are being destroyed. I'll see you soon.